What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gotian's Games. And today I'd like to tell you a little story of mine um, regarding a game that I have a sort of history with. And n- not really a good history at that. Um, Basically, a game that I kind of have a curse with. And not saying I specifically believe in curses, but you know what? You guys be the judge by the end of the story. So, uh, back in, what was it, PlayStation 1 days, PlayStation 1 was a good, fantastic system that saw the birth of a lot of RPGs that we know and love. Um, like the Final Fantasy games and a whole plethora of fantastic games. Well, during that time, there was a game that came out, and originally it had come out for the Sega Saturn, and the this version of the game that came out on the PlayStation, it was marketed as the definitive version of this game, and the company that brought it out was called Working Designs, and and so this game was marketed in different magazines back in 1998. It was a limited edition, a limited run of this game from Working Designs, and they were only going to release a certain amount. And the name of this game is Lunar Silver Star Story. This one right here. This game right here. This is the collector's edition. It's a collector's box. Came with an art book, so to speak. It was an art book instruction manual. It had a lot of information in it, kind of like mini guides. It gave you information on the characters. It gave you backstory on the game, translation details, development details of the game, and such like that. Along with the art book, instruction manual, which was a hardcover leather bound manual, by the way, hardcover leather bound. It also came with a cloth map and the game, as well as the soundtrack that was in the game. It was a 2-disc game. It came with a soundtrack, and it came with a making of disc. Now, if you haven't noticed by now, I haven't shown you the game. That's because I don't have it. Back in 1998, when this game first got announced, the game was actually released in 1999, but it was announced in 1998. I asked my mom to buy me this game for my birthday, because it was coming out around Christmas time. So I asked her to buy it for me for my birthday. So she did. My mom bought this game for me back in 1999 for my birthday. I was 13. Yeah, that was my 13th birthday. And so my mom bought the game for me, and I was super excited. We went to this was back when it was EB Games, not GameStop. So we went to EB Games. We bought the game. I didn't have to reserve it because it wasn't one of those things where a whole bunch of people knew what this game was. They didn't know what the game would become in today's standards. They weren't aware how rare this game was, or how rare it would become. So I bought the game. I didn't have to pre-order it. I walked into GameStop. Or GameStop. I walked into EB Games, and it was sitting on the shelf, and I bought the game. 1999. My mom bought it for me for a birthday present. I played through the game. I beat it. I loved it. I loved the music. I loved the art style of the game. It was 2D sprites on a 3D world. absolutely fantastic game. If you never played Lunar Silver Star Story, you should. They remade it, like I said, for um, the PS1 was supposed to be the definitive version at the time, but it has since been remade once again for the PSP, called Lunar Silver Star Harmony, which that's actually the definitive version of it. They remade the game completely, updated graphics, updated dialogue, updated writing. They upgraded the actual maps of the dungeons and everything. So if you're gonna play any version, either play the PS1 version or play the PSP version. So, anyways, I played through the game. I absolutely loved it. I beat it multiple times, and then I also went ahead and decided I was going to use my Game Shark on it, because back then you had Game Shark, Game Genie, Action Replay, so you could basically hack the games and get like infinite health and like superpower your characters. So I did that just to have fun with it, since I'd already beaten the game multiple times. So I did that just to like go through the game really fast to see like how overpowered the characters would become and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun for me at the time. And so I had this friend in high school. High school? Yeah. I had this friend in high school. And he never played the game, and he wanted to play it. So me being me, and the way that I am, or the way that I was back then, I'm actually not this way anymore. I let him borrow the game. And because I was so like my feelings for this game were so strong that I wanted people to play it. I wanted people to experience this game because it was such an awesome, amazing game. I wanted people to play it. So I let my friend borrow the game, and he lived a couple of houses down from me, so I let him borrow the game. And he never gave it back. He stopped talking to me, and he ended up getting into trouble, and he ended up getting into drugs and this and that. I tried talking to his brother to see if his brother could get the game back from me, and then his brother, because his brother was cool, and so it was his younger brother, and his brother was like, look, he says he doesn't have it. So for all I know, he sold it for drug money. I still have the outer box. I still have the manual. I still have the cloth map, but I don't have the game. So ever since then, I don't let people borrow my games. I don't let them borrow my games. And so as time went on, I got older. I started working, and this was eBay became a big deal. So I'm like, oh, let me go buy the game on eBay. Let me go check it out. So I found it on eBay for relatively cheap. Like the whole collector's edition, I found it on eBay and it was a lot. So they sold part 1 and they had part 2 on eBay together for sale, and for really cheap. I ended up getting both collector's editions for about $70 total for both of them. And if you guys are not aware of how much these games actually cost, in today's standards, Lunar Silver Star Story, everything complete in the box. Doesn't really matter the condition of the outer box because it's cardboard, but everything complete in the box is anywhere between $50 to $100 depending on which discs there are, because the discs had different artwork. So you could have bought this game 4 different times and the discs would have had 4 different artwork on it. So turns out that the artwork that I had on mine was one of the rarest ones. So I bought the game on eBay, along with part 2. And when it came, and it had pictures and everything, so I knew the art that was coming on the discs. I knew everything that was fine. The art that came on the disc was the most common one, but I didn't care because I had the game again. I was happy I had the game again. I had the game again. And I had part 2. And then I lost my job. And we needed the money to pay bills. So I ended up having to sell Lunar, the copy that I bought on eBay, as well as as well as part 2. Now I made a sizable profit because part 1 I sold it for about $70 because the condition of it was pristine. And then part 2 I ended up selling it for $120. So I made 3 times the amount I paid for it. I can't complain on that. I was able to provide for my family at the time. I was able to pay a couple bills with that, and fine. Not a big deal. I'm an adult. It's fine. So time went on, and I became a member of a website called Cheap Ass Gamer. And I'm still a member of the website Cheap Ass Gamer. And Cheap Ass Gamer, you could buy, sell, and trade with other people on the website. And I built up a good, decent reputation on there. People knew who I was. I've been selling and trading on Cheap Ass Gamer for quite some time at that point. So I had good feedback on Cheap Ass Gamer, no problems at all, nothing like that. And somebody had for sale Lunar Silver Star Story on Cheap Ass Gamer, so I bought it from them. They sent me pictures. Really fantastic guy. I ended up buying a bunch of games from this guy, not just Lunar. I must have spent about $300 in games in complete inbox games like Golden Sun and a whole bunch of other games. And so I bought Lunar from him, and he sent me the pictures. 'Cause I asked him, "Oh, what discs are they? Can you send me the picture of the artwork?" So he sent it to me, and it was one of the rarer artworks on it. And so I was kind of excited. I'm like, "Oh man, I've never owned this one before." So the game is the same. It's just different art. So I'm like, "Oh, I've never owned this art before." So awesome. I'm excited for it. So I bought it. I ended up buying it for $60, which was the price that that it pretty much goes for even now. And so I got it, and I was happy. I had the game again. I had it again, and I was super happy, super excited that I had the game, because again, this was a game that my mom got for me, and it meant a lot to me. But at the same time, there was this empty feeling that I had, because it still was not the discs that I had when my mom bought the game for me. So I still, even though I was happy to have the game, at the same time I had this hole in my heart because it was not the version of the game that my mom bought. And so once again, I ended up needing the money, and this time it wasn't that I lost my job. I left my job. I left my job for something better, or I thought would be better. It turns out that it wasn't, and I ended up being unemployed. And we needed the money, and at this time, we had our first daughter already. So I ended up having, and not only did I lose my job, but we ended up having to move out of the house that we were in. So we needed the money to put a down payment to rent another house. So I ended up selling a bunch of my games, which was fine. At that time, I had already started selling games from This America, so I had stacks and stacks of different games that I could sell for a very good price. So I ended up selling enough games to put a down payment or a deposit to move into another house. So I must have sold like over $1,000 or $1,200 worth of games. And one of the games, unfortunately, was Lunar. And the only reason why I sold it, or two reasons why I sold it, was because it was a high dollar game, and I didn't have the attachment to it because it wasn't the same discs that I had from when my mom bought it. So I didn't have that full attachment. So I was okay with selling it. But still to this day, I don't have the game. I ended up buying it on the PSP, the collector's edition. I bought the collector's edition of Silver Star Harmony on the PSP. And then I ended up having to sell it. So I have, I feel almost like it's a curse with this game, that I absolutely love this game, and I cannot seem to hold on to it. And hopefully I can buy it again, and hopefully the version that I buy is the version that I had when my mom purchased it for me, and maybe that will break the curse. Maybe that will do it. Maybe the whole reason why I have the curse is because it's not the version that my mom bought. And again, that holds a place in my heart. Like, I could have easily have just sold the accessories for the collector's edition, and I could still made money off of this, but I didn't do it because this is what my mom got me. And it might sound like I'm saying this like my mom's passed away or anything. She hasn't. She's alive and kicking. She's 50 something, and she looks probably younger than I do, and and acts that way too. Well, sometimes, but it sucks because I have this sitting in my collection, and I see it every day, and it hurts me every day to not have the game. But anyways, that's my story for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you believe in a curse, if that's what it sounds like to you. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Peace out.